Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we are wading right into, a classic tech showdown.
Yeah, the budget challenger versus the premium heavyweight. Always a fun one.
Exactly. And the question is fundamental, really. Can a controller that costs, what, $45 actually compete with something like a $180 high-end model?
In terms of feel, performance, durability, is that price gap just too big?
That's what we're digging into. We've looked at sources covering the GameSir G7 SE. It's aimed right at that budget market. Our mission here is to figure out, what's the real value and
Yeah.
where do they obviously have to cut corners?
The trade-offs, always trade-offs at that price.
Right. But here's the kicker. The thing that immediately makes you sit up and take notice.
The surprise feature.
Yeah, this G7 SE, this $45 controller, it includes one specific piece of tech that people usually pay a huge premium for.
Just to avoid that one massive headache.
You got it.
Okay, let's talk about that, because the sources highlight this as the G7 SE's secret weapon. It uses Hall effect thumbsticks and triggers.
Hall effect. Okay, sounds technical. What does that actually mean for someone playing a game?
It means durability. It directly tackles probably the most infuriating problem with modern controllers.
Stick drift.
Oh, stick drift. When your character just wanders off on their own.
Precisely. Ruins crucial moments.
Yeah.
And think about the cost, right? If you've ever had to toss out a $70 or $80 controller because the sticks wore out after 6 months.
I know that pain. Many listeners probably do too. It feels like such a waste.
Exactly. So that's the core value here. This tech aims to stop that.
Okay, so break down the tech jump. You mentioned magnetic sensors. Why does that stop the drift compared to, well, whatever the normal ones use?
Right. So traditional sticks use potentiometers. Think of them as little physical parts that rub against each other constantly as you move the stick.
Okay, lots of friction.
Thousands and thousands of times.
Yeah.
And that friction causes wear and tear, which eventually leads to the drift. Hall effect sensors, though, they're contactless.
Oh, rubbing. No rubbing. They use magnets and sensors to detect the stick's position based on magnetic fields. Nothing physically wears down in the same way.
Okay. So it's just fundamentally more durable by design.
Exactly. That's why the sources say it punches well above its cost for accuracy and, crucially, longevity. It changes the whole expectation for a budget controller.
That is serious value, especially at $45. But, okay, if they spent the money on fancy Hall effect sticks, where did they save money?
That's a logical question, yeah.
But looking at the features list, it's actually surprisingly well-rounded beyond just the sticks.
It's not just a one-trick pony.
No, you get 2 rear buttons, customizable ones, 4 different profiles you can save your settings to. That's pretty high-end stuff, usually.
It saves a lot of fiddling between games, yeah.
And they didn't skimp on the basics either. Sources mention a solid, braided USB-C cable, decent rumble feedback.
And the feel. Lightweight, apparently quite ergonomic.
Yeah, that's what comes through. So the summary we're seeing is basically, this thing delivers the core performance people want. One source flat out called it the best budget controller you can buy.
High praise. But there has to be a catch, right?
Yeah.
If it's got features close to an elite controller for like a quarter of the price,
Yeah.
what's the sacrifice?
Is that $135 difference just about being wireless?
That's a big part of it, and that really boils down to what you, the user, prioritize.
Uh-huh.
The sources are clear on the trade-offs.
Okay, lay them out.
Biggest one, as you said.
Yeah.
Wired only. No wireless option at all. For some, maybe competitive players wanting zero latency, that's fine.
But for couch gaming, that cable can definitely get in the way.
Absolutely. It's a major convenience factor missing. Then there's a bit of initial setup.
Oh, like what?
Sources mention the dead zones might need adjusting right out of the box.
Dead zones, meaning the stick might not register tiny movements immediately unless you tweak settings.
Correct. It's usually an easy software fix via their app, but it's an extra step you don't always have with premium controllers. It's not plug-and-play perfection initially, perhaps.
Okay, noted. What else?
And compared to something like the Xbox Elite Series 2, fewer extra buttons or paddles. You get the 2 back buttons, but the Elite has more, plus more complex customization options.
So less versatility for really intricate custom setups.
Exactly. You're trading those advanced, maybe pro-level customization options to that core durability feature, the Hall effect sticks.
Makes sense.
So the final takeaway from the sources seems to be, if your main concern is good feel and response, and you really want to avoid stick drift, and you don't mind being wired or losing some of the extra bells and whistles,
then the G7 SE might actually be the smarter buy. It solves that core hardware problem for way less money.
Precisely. It tackles longevity issue head on.
Okay, so synthesizing all that. The GameSir G7 SE delivers that crucial, high-end, drift-fixing tech by making calculated sacrifices, mainly ditching wireless and limiting the extra fancy buttons.
A focused value proposition.
Which brings us to a really interesting point about the whole industry, doesn't it?
Where does this leave the big players?
Yeah. If GameSir can put reliable Hall effect sticks in a $45 controller now and prove it solves a huge customer pain point.
How long can the major companies keep charging a premium for it, or worse, not offering it on their standard, say, $70 controllers?
Exactly. How long until Hall effect just becomes the standard baseline tech regardless of price? Because the excuse that it's too expensive seems a bit shaky now, right?
That is the big question moving forward. When does this trickle up or just become expected everywhere? Something for you to definitely ponder.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Well, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for exploring this with us.